Hey, fourth graders, it's Mr. Holt. Wanted to do a read aloud. I've got a book here, The National Parks of the USA, that my aunt had given my family and I. And I'm, over the next couple of weeks, going to read several parts of it to you, but probably not the entire book. It is a long one. It's nonfiction. It's called National Parks of the USA. It has a very unique table of contents. The table of contents is a map, but it shows that any of the national parks found on the East Coast are pages 6 through 23. National parks found in the central part of the United States are pages 24 through 37. National parks found in the Rocky Mountain region, pages 56 through 65. The Southwest, the West, Alaska, and the tropics, including Hawaii. So each of those different parts of the United States have some national parks, some more than others, but that's how this table of contents is laid out, is on a map. Looks like it starts in the east, so we'll head there. There is a page here that's about the national parks and kind of how they got started and what they do and why there are national parks. National parks are pieces of land that were made public, kind of kept available for the people of America to go visit, and on some of them you can ride mountain bikes or hike and do different things. It's often very pretty. Or unique parts of the country. But so the National Park Service turns these places into spots where people can come visit but not buy for themselves and build their houses or run businesses on them or anything. Again, starts in the east. The eastern United States, this is kind of an introductory page. The eastern United States is crowded with big cities, but wild, untamed lands hide in their midst. In the ancient Appalachian Mountains, black bears, deer, and elk roam. Waterfalls trickle and tumble, and mist blankets the valleys like puffy cotton balls. It's a different scene on the coast. In northern waters, lobsters and crabs patrol the seafloor or hide in tide pools, and loons cry their eerie howls on the surface. In the aquamarine seas of Florida, coral reefs are like bustling, multicolored cities for fish. There are even traffic jams. Because this part of the country was one of the earliest to be settled by Europeans, many of the eastern parts also have historic buildings to explore. Imagine what it was like to be a soldier stationed at a fort over 100 years ago, or a settler living off the land in an Appalachian cabin that you had built yourself. This page does show the upcoming national parks, that each one will have their own page or a couple of pages. Down here in Florida are the Dry Tortugas, the Everglades, and the Biscayne National Forest. In South Carolina, the Congaree, the Great Smoky Mountains of Tennessee, Shenandoah National Forest in West Virginia, and Acadia in Maine, a national forest. And each one kind of shows a little bit about what it's going to have. There's only going to be one that I'm going to read from the east, kind of a particular favorite of mine, I guess, and that's the Everglades down in Florida. So I'm going to find that page. There's the Biscayne National Forest. The Everglades. And that'll be the one I read today, is the Everglades. The air feels heavy and humid as you paddle through a mangrove forest. Birds squawk and sing overhead, and a manatee glides by. Welcome to the Everglades, the largest subtropical wilderness in the country. In these 1.5 million acres, you'll find diverse habitats, from the open waters of Florida Bay to sawgrass prairies threaded by rivers. While you walk along a boardwalk called the Hinga Trail, watch for fish circling in the clear water below. A turtle the size of a dinner plate balances on a rock like he's flying, and an alligator floats as still as a log. In the distance, listen for the gators bellowing. It sounds like deep dog growls. The Everglades, again, can be found in Florida. It looks like it's on the west coast of Florida, along the Gulf of Mexico, that body of water. It was founded in 1947. That's when they decided to make the Everglades Park a national park. And its size is 1.5 million acres. I have a feeling, I don't know, but I think that's the largest national park. Oh, I don't know, maybe. Some of the things that were already mentioned, go into a little more detail, and then others. There's different plant and wildlife pictures and words here. I hope that you can see them. I hope there's not too much of a glare. Maybe after this first video you can kind of let me know if it was close enough or not close enough. And actually I'm going to scoot in as I read some of these smaller parts. So just let me know. The mangrove forests. With the help of their stilt-like roots, red, white, and black mangrove trees grow in shallow water. They form maze-like thickets that protect the coast from storms and are tough for humans to travel through, but birds and fish don't mind. Pelicans, wood storks, and cormorants nest in the mangrove branches. Sharks, grouper, and snapper all raise babies here. You might even see tree crabs clambering upside down on branches. If you startle them, they'll drop down into the water or your canoe. Here's a ligus or ligus tree snail. Tree snails come in wild colors and stripes: green, pink, yellow, orange, and brown. They slide along the branches on trails of their own mucus. Gross. Sawgrass was mentioned. Sawgrass grows at least as tall as you in great waving meadows, but be careful, they have rows of tiny, sharp teeth. It looks like that might be a good hangout for the stork, or pelican, perhaps that is. The bald cypress tree. Cypress trees grow in groups in mucky areas, creating leafy domes like green churches that make shady homes for frogs, birds, and other creatures. The cardinal air plant. Air plants survive by attaching to a tree and sucking nutrients out of the air and rain. Frogs like to lay eggs in their leaves. And on this first page here for the Everglades, the last thing up top here is a clamshell orchid. So it looks like this page was all mostly the wildlife, as well as the snail. Flower poachers have stolen so many of these plants there aren't many left. See if you can spot one of their rare, spectacular blooms. And more of the wildlife. The manatee, West Indian manatee. Gentle, slow-moving manatees, or sea cows, as they're often called, are mammals just like us, but they live their whole lives underwater, growing as big as 1,500 pounds, just on a diet of marine plants. So though they only eat plants, they're a very, very large sea mammal. The Florida panther. You need patience and good luck to spot these rare, secretive cats. They silently stalk the Everglades for deer, hogs, raccoons, and rabbits. Speaking of rabbits, there is one there, a marsh rabbit. Unlike their land-lubbing cousins, did I read that right? Yep, land-lubbing cousins, these bunnies love to swim. They paddle through swamps searching for herbs, flowers, and other plants to nibble on. I had forgotten about that. I had never heard of a rabbit swimming before, but apparently this marsh rabbit does. There's a bird here called a spoonbill. Roseate spoonbills nest in big, noisy groups in mangrove trees. During mating, a couple kisses by crossing their long, spoon-shaped bills. And lastly, the alligator. Alligators were once endangered because humans hunted them for their belly skin, which makes nice leather. Now they thrive in southern Florida, growing up to 15 feet long. Yikes. Those might be the only pages for the Everglades. They are. So that was the Everglades. That concludes today's Read Aloud. I'll be posting more of these read alouds from this book soon, and eventually I'd like to get another novel or chapter book read for our class. So thanks for tuning in. Don't forget we have some math, reading, and writing from this week, and I really miss you guys. Keep up the hard work. We'll get through this, and I look forward to seeing you when I can. Bye, guys.